Okay guys, here's my new pair of inline skates. They are the Rollerblade 100, Rollerblade Tempest 100 that is. And I am going to be showcasing these skates. They do have 100mm wheels, so they are harder to skate in, believe it or not. I am using these skates for something that they are not designed for. As you can tell, I am not in a park with a straightaway. I'm not on a long stretch. I am in urban streets, meaning my own neighborhood. So I'm just testing these skates out, just seeing if the turning, how the turning is, how the stopping is. Maybe I can power slide in them, I don't know. So far I've been able to do a drag stop, as you can see on the video. I do notice that you have to have complete stability at all times, because if you don't have that stability and you let your foot flex too much, it's like standing on stilts. It feels like limousines on my feet. Your ankle will twist pretty quick. So another thing is the sharp turning. These skates do not turn very sharply. Make sure you prepare to turn. See, that was a failed turn right there. I was not able to do the power slide I was intending to do. It's always good to practice on a open area opposed to a tight spot. That way, if you are to slide left or right, you have a lot of area to go. But these skates are brand new to me. I got them at Sun Ski and Sports. The skating season is over, and they dropped the price by $100. These inline skates are normally $350 or $400, but I got them for $250. Now, first thing you're going to notice about these skates is that the second wheel from the front is a 90mm wheel. All the rest of the wheels are 100mm. The reason for that is so that the boot sits lower to the ground. You would want the boot to sit lower to the ground because you don't want your feet to wobble in the skates too much, because you'll lose stability. I did practice a couple of jumps in these skates, and to my surprise I did quite well, considering that the wheels are bigger and your foot could twist in any direction. And again, I emphasize that focus is key while skating in these skates and doing what I'm doing right here. The reason why I say that is because if you halfway do anything in these skates, more than likely you're not gonna make it, and you're gonna hit the ground pretty hard, or with a broken ankle. So make sure you always have plenty of energy. And I did notice that when I was wearing these skates, I was only able to skate in these skates for 11 minutes. And after that, my energy was pretty much zapped before I could skate again. But of course, with a quick break, I was right back to skating again and enjoying myself. As of the moment, I don't really favor these skates, but I will use these skates until I learn how to use them. The skates that I favor the most would be at Bauer inline hockey skates or a recreational skate, simply because they're just more comfortable to skate in. But there are certain advantages with these skates that you can do that you cannot necessarily do with the other skates. And the advantage to these skates would be the speed. The other skates, the speed depends on how fast you go. With these skates, the speed depends not only on how fast you go, but also how big the wheels are. And for some reason, I don't know the science behind it, but the bigger the wheel, the faster you go. But also, it takes longer to start up. If you can tell from the wheels, the wheel on the front and the back extend past the boot. So while doing crossovers, you have to make sure you don't hit your feet together. So crossovers are harder with this skate. But with practice, you will get better at that too. So if you are an experienced person at skates. These skates I do recommend, but if you are inexperienced, I really recommend you do not start off with this skate. But just like any other pair of skates, these skates can be just as fun. I've got some pretty reasonable speed out of these skates. Here I am practicing my drag stop, and that is a very good power slide I just did compared to the other power slides I did. I think mostly the reason why I couldn't do the power slides before is because the wheels were brand new, and it takes a moment to kind of break the wheels in. Cracks in the concrete, you're not going to roll into a crack as easily as you would with smaller wheels. So that is another advantage to these skates. I've also noticed the grip factor on these skates. When I make turns, they grip the ground pretty good. So I am less likely to slip and fall. For this skate, I'm pretty much staying on the same street just because I know this area and I'm comfortable with this area, which is always good for a new pair of skates when you're practicing. You never want to go to an area you're not familiar with, because accidents do happen. I often pick an area that I know all the cracks, all the bumps, and uneven sidewalks. You can make tight maneuvers in these skates, but it does take practice. I didn't show it on this video clip, but after I was done with this video clip, I did practice skating backwards in these skates, and they're not as bad as I thought they would be. I am able to get a good angle while turning and staying on my feet. So, what do I rate these skates? Out of 1 to 10, I would probably rate these skates. I would rate these skates about an 8 right about now. When I first tried them on, I didn't like them. But now that I have gotten used to them, I give them a higher rating. At first, I think I gave them like a 4. They do feel pretty familiar. They feel like the K2s I used to have that were 100mm wheels. The only bad things about the K2s that I had was that the second wheel from the front started to rub against the boot. And I believe that was a 2012 model. Those were the K2 Radical 100mm wheels. These are the Rollerblade Tempest 100, and they have a different design, slightly better than the K2 skates, which doesn't allow the second wheel from the front to rub against the boot. I've noticed also that it is easier to roll through grass with the bigger wheels you have. The smaller the wheel, the harder. So that's pretty much my review. These skates are awesome. I do recommend them. And if you are an experienced skater, I encourage you to buy them. You don't have to be crazy like me on them though. When these wheels wear down to about 90mm, I will be switching the wheels off these skates onto another pair of skates that has a smaller frame, and so on. Here's a view of the skates and how they look. That's a nice little side angle. You can see the second wheel from the front is smaller, but it still touches the ground. Thank y'all for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing y'all again next time. I hope y'all enjoyed the clip.